Hello, my name is Ross De Vincentiis and I will be guiding you through a 30-minute mobility routine designed to mobilize all the main joints of your body, including your ankles, hips, spine and shoulders. To complete this mobility routine, the only things you need are nice soft floor to be on, so it could be a yoga mat, a Swiss ball or a couch or a chair to be used as a prop, and something really spongy and soft to go underneath your knees for one of the stretches. Let's get started. We're going to begin with our spine. So we're going to get into an all-four position and do what's called a cat-cow for 60 seconds. Breathing in as you arch and look up to the sky. Breathing out as you round the spine. Continuing this process for 60 seconds. From here we're going to go into thread the needle, also done in an all-four position, designed to improve the rotation mobility of the spine. As you exhale, you rotate. As you inhale, you return to the center. Exhale, rotate to the opposite side. Continuing this process for 60 seconds. From here we're going to move into a primal rock. So this is completed with a neutral spine. So we're not arching, we're not rounding, we're finding that middle point. We're then going to gently rock our hips forward and back, maintaining a neutral spine the entire time. So ensuring we don't round the lower back as the bottom moves towards the hips, towards the heels. This movement is really effective at mobilizing and warming up the hips, improving our hip flexion while maintaining a nice, safe, neutral spine. We'll go for another 20 seconds. We're now going to move this to a high knee position. We move our right foot to the outside of our hand or as high up as we can take it. And then we're just going to keep gently rocking forward and back with the hips. You will likely start to round a little bit through the back while doing this one. That's okay. Should be feeling a little bit more intense mobilization in the right hip. And potentially a bit of a stretch through the hamstring, so the back of the thigh, and maybe even in the hip flexor of the right hip as well. From here, keeping the right foot up high, we're going to take the right hand off the ground, rotating, looking up to the sky, pointing up to the sky. Okay, returning the hand, returning the foot, and let's move to the other side. Left foot up high, rocking the hip forward and back. Once again, you'll be feeling potentially a little bit more of an intense mobilization in the left hip, maybe a stretch through the left hamstring, the left hip flexor, and now from here, the left hand looks up, rotates as you look up to the sky. Turning the hand. That completes our sequence for the spine, and then moving into the hips a little bit on the ground. We're now going to come to our feet and go into what we call a whole body joint mobility routine. We teach this as a separate independent or on its own 5-minute joint mobility routine, and we're including it as part of this larger routine because it's so effective at just starting to move all of the main joints through their complete range. So we're going to start with our fingers by flicking our fingers. This routine follows a logical sequence, starting at the hands, working up to the neck and shoulders, and then all the way down to the feet. From here, we're then going to shake our hands and wrists. And then complete circles with the wrists, with the hands, keeping the wrists nice and still. So we're going to do roughly 10 rotations in the one direction and change direction. Okay, so from wrists we go to elbows, keeping the elbows all forward and away from the body so that you're able to get full flexion and extension of the elbow joint. Change direction. From elbows we move to shoulders, bouncing the shoulders up and down nice and loose, not just straight up and down, but in all sorts of directions. The shoulder joints are really mobile. They're designed to move in a large range, so we want to mobilize it through that large range. Okay, from here, we're then going to move to the neck. So looking up and down. and turning side to side, keeping the chin level with the ground. And then moving ear to shoulder, looking forward the whole time. From here we're going to do circles. One full circle one way, one full circle the other way. And continuing that process, never completing more than one full loop in the one direction before changing. We're now going to move back to the shoulders, rolling one shoulder back, followed by the other. Imagine the shoulder is moving around a clock face, and it's aiming to hit each hour of the clock face. Typically, we may be tight in certain parts or certain muscles around our shoulders that may restrict this full rotation or this full movement around the clock face. This part of the mobilization can really help improve that shoulder range of movement. And now changing direction, so rolling forward, still aiming to hit each hour of the clock face. From shoulders, we move to our rib cage and our hips. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put our hands on the bottom of our rib cage. Now we actually want this part of our trunk to stay still while we move our hips. Now the way we're moving our hips is actually what's called a tilting movement. We're tilting the hips forward, tilting them to the side, tilting them back, tilting them to the other side in this circular motion. I'm going to do about 10 rotations one way, then 10 the other. You may struggle with this one, and that's often because of the modern sedentary lifestyle where we spend a long period of time sitting. We can really start to get tight hip flexors that can greatly affect our ability to move our hips in this way. Change direction. Once again, trying to keep the rib cage and the part of the trunk that your hands are on nice and still, so we can isolate that tilting movement through the hips. Okay, so once we've done that, we now move into a broader and more integrated hip movement. Hands are on the hips, and now the whole trunk, legs, hips all move together as we do a full rotation of the hips. Okay, and changing direction. Okay, so from hips we're going to move to our knees now. So bring our feet together, knees together, hands on the knees, keep the feet flat on the ground as you do rotations. Change direction. From here, gently press the knees backwards, so we're extending our knee joint. Gently press the knees forwards, keeping the heels on the ground. And now allow the heels to come off the ground and bend the knees and move as low down as you can. If you can bring the bum all the way to the heels while maintaining balance, brilliant. Okay, coming back up, we're now going to move to our ankles. This requires a little bit of balance as well. If you struggle with your balance, you can use a chair or something else solid to hold on to. We're going to bring one foot off the ground and go into ankle rotations. Change direction. Now, that same foot that we were just rotating, we're now going to bend the toes one way, bend the toes the other way, and now changing to the other foot. Change direction. And now those toes we're going to bend one way. And bend the other way. Okay, we're now going to move into a couple of really important lower body stretches. We're going to stretch our hamstrings, followed by our hip flexors and our lower back muscles. So the way we're going to do our hamstrings is by what's called an elephant walk. So depending on how flexible your hamstrings are will depend on how close your hands will go to your feet. So I'll show you a couple of variations. We can have our hands here, or if that's too hard, we can move them out to here. What we're going to be doing is extending one leg, then extending the other. Another way of saying it is pushing one knee back, then the other. If it's too easy, you can move the hands in a little bit more, continue that process. We're going to do this for about 30 repetitions each side. Extending one knee as you bend the other, then alternating. And this pumping mechanism that we're doing here over the course of the next 30 reps is going to start to lengthen those hamstrings. If you do suffer from lower back pain or a disc bulge in the lower back, you may not be able to go all the way down with your hands touching the ground, because you may experience discomfort if you round the back. In that situation, you would lift the arms up a little bit higher and keep the back nice and straight. You may find as we go through this set that your hamstrings start becoming more flexible and you can move your hands in closer towards your feet. You're welcome to do that. Okay, another few reps each side. And bend the knees and slowly coming back up. Okay, so that was to stretch the hamstrings. We're now going to stretch our hip flexors and what's called our QLs, our quadratus lumborum, the muscles in our lower back. We're going to do that by going into a deep lunge position. So we're going to take our right leg back to a deep lunge position, tucking the tail, so that is drawing the groin up towards the belly button and engaging that right glute, lowering down a little bit till you feel a bit of a stretch through that hip flexor. Lift up with the right arm and across to the opposite side. We're going to hold this for 10, 9, 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're going to change sides. Left leg now goes back, tucking the tail, lowering down until you feel that stretch through the hip flexor. Lift up with the left arm and across to the opposite side. Hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to go twice more each side. Right leg now back again, tucking that tail, lifting up the right side. 10, 9, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and change again. Left leg back, lifting up with the left arm and across. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and once more each side. Right leg back, tucking the tail. 2, 1, and changing sides. Left leg back, tucking the tail, reaching up and across to the right. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, shaking that off. We're now going to move into the Ido Portal squat routine, so designed by Ido Portal. So what we want to do is position our feet as wide or narrow and at the right angle so that you're able to go down into a deep squat. Now for some of you may not be able to go that low, that's fine. You go as low as you can handle. We're then going to block the left knee with our left elbow, and we're going to push our right hand into our right knee, pushing it out. We're going to go for 10 reps. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Change sides, block with the right knee, right elbow, pressing the left knee out. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Just standing up, shake it out. We're going to go down again. This time we're going to be pressing the knee inwards. Go nice and gentle with this one. We don't need to push it in too much. Blocking the left knee with the left elbow, gently pushing in the right knee. 3, 4, we're going for 10 reps. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and change sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and coming up, shaking it off. Okay, going down again. This time hands are going to be together like this, pushing both elbows into both knees to get as wide apart as we can, like this. 1, let's go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Awesome. Coming up, shaking it off. Okay, we're now going to move into a pec minor stretch. That's stretching the muscle through here. Now we can do this in a couple of ways. I'm going to show you on a Swiss ball. If you don't have a Swiss ball, you can use a couch. If you don't have anything to use as a prop, you can actually then use a door frame. The beauty of doing it this way, where we're actually on the ground and our trunk is horizontal, is that we do get a slightly more effective stretch through the chest. So the elbow is at the same level of the shoulder, so not too far this way, not too far that way, coming out directly perpendicular with the trunk, 90-degree angle at the elbow joint, keeping a nice neutral spine so don't drop the head down. And we're going to hold that for about 60 seconds each side. About another 15 seconds, so if you can relax into this one a little bit more, get a little bit deeper into that pec minor stretch. This muscle is often tight in most people because of sitting at a desk, shoulders being rolled forward as we work on a computer screen. And changing sides. Having a nice mobile pec minor is very important to maintaining healthy shoulders and healthy shoulder movement. About another 15 seconds on this side, so see if you can go a little bit deeper into the stretch now. Really relaxing and breathing into the stretch. One more breath. Okay. From here we're going to go into a standing groin stretch. So we're going to take our feet as wide apart as we can handle. So that's really going to be dependent on the range of movement of our groin muscles, our adductors. We're then going to drop to the right side, bending the right knee, keeping the left knee straight. And if we can rest our forearm, right forearm on that right thigh, and we're going to hold here for 60 seconds. If you don't feel the stretch through that left groin, the left adductors, see if you move that foot out further, if that brings on the stretch more. Sticking the bottom backwards and leaning forward more through the chest can also bring on this stretch. Changing the angle of the left foot will bring on the stretch in different parts of the groin. So depending on where you're the tightest will depend on the best sort of positioning of that left foot. We're going to hold for another 20 seconds. Okay, and changing to the opposite side. Bending the left, leaning on that left thigh, feeling that stretch through the groin on the right side. Another 20 seconds. One more breath. And slowly coming out. The final stretch we're going to move into is a quadricep stretch. The quads are the front of our thighs. Now you're going to want either a Swiss ball, a couch, or even a wall to rest your leg up against. And something like a pillow or a yoga mat doubled over or tripled over, or something spongy to just protect the knee. So we're going to start with our right side. So we're going to put our right foot on that Swiss ball, couch, wall, whatever you're using. Left foot up. The closer your heel is to your butt, the more intense this stretch is going to be. We draw our belly button in, draw the groin up, press the hips forward, and if you can, even try and squeeze that right glute. And then move the hips forward. The more you drive that hip forward while squeezing the glute, the more intense that quad stretch is going to be. About another 20 seconds on this side. Okay, changing sides. Once again, the closer the heel is to the butt, the more intense the stretch will be. 60-second hold. Another 20 seconds. And slowly coming out of it. That completes the 30-minute mobility routine.